This is the One Nerd Power.
One Punch Man gained immense popularity for its unique take on superheroes, power, and the search for meaning in life. The series explores the idea of what it means to be a hero. While Saitama's physical strength is unmatched, he lacks recognition and admiration from society because he does not fit the typical image of a hero. While it may initially seem like a straightforward comedy, One Punch Man holds deeper layers to be explored, subverting every trope possible of the shonen genre.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Spoiler alert.
To talk about One Punch Man, we first have to take a look at Superman, the quintessential superhero. Superman is a relatively simple character, yet he's so misunderstood. And because of this, to this day we don't have a good film adaptation. Superman's main trait is his humbleness. No matter how strong he is, Clark never puts himself above others, he never abuses his power. Deep down, Superman is just a man who was born on a farm, who's happy with an office job, and wants a chance with Lois Lane. Superman's greatest struggle is not physical, but mental. Lex Luthor is his nemesis. He doesn't believe in Superman's humbleness. If Luthor had all this power, he would enslave the entire human race. He repeatedly tries to prove that Superman, deep down, is just as rotten as he is. Superman doesn't win when Lex Luthor ends up in jail, he wins when he doesn't step out of line. One Punch Man takes it all to another level. Saitama started out as a young man looking for a job, but after helping a child, he decided to become a hero. Unfortunately for him, life as a hero turned out to be even more boring than working in an office. Saitama claims to be a hero as a hobby, but he doesn't seem to get any joy from being a hero. Despite declaring that his motivation to help others is for his own amusement, he proves it false right away. Saitama has become so powerful that he can defeat any enemy with one punch. The episodes build a dramatic confrontation involving secondary characters, but it's all thrown away the moment the Kate Baldy appears. No matter how much he tries to hold back, the result is always the same. There is no adversity. Not even special abilities or physics stand a chance against Saitama's fist. Normally this would take away any tension from the story. But in the case of One Punch Man, the audience ends up sharing the protagonist's feeling of frustration, who resolves everything in an anticlimactic way. So I was thinking, what's the moral of the story in One Punch Man? What's the running theme? There are many messages in One Punch Man. If there are no obstacles, we have no reason to improve. There's no shortcut for your dreams. Not judging someone by their appearance. Follow a career you enjoy. However, none of these are the essence of the series. What keeps showing up over and over again in One Punch Man are characters being obsessed with something. Most villains are just humans who spontaneously turned into monsters because of their obsessions. A man turned into a crab monster after consuming too much crab. The internet surfers couldn't get over some hateful messages posted by trolls. Boros traveled through space for 20 years to find a worth opponent. Garo wanted to teach the heroes the lesson at all cost. They all end up regretting it. Therefore, the moral of the series is, do not take things too seriously. This fits One Punch Man perfectly. If you do take things too seriously, you may distance yourself from other people and neglect other aspects of your life. This is demonstrated repeatedly in One Punch Man, as people literally lose their humanity to obsessions. Even Saitama himself was obsessed with being a hero who could defeat any opponent with a single punch. Despite his good intentions, he wasn't exactly rewarded for his hard work. As Saitama described it, it's as if he reached the maximum level on a video game, and there was nothing else left to do. He put so much effort into becoming a hero that he couldn't enjoy it. Reaching your goals as fast as possible is not fulfilling. Against what the shonen genre usually teaches you, there's something is working too hard. The Japanese culture put too much focus on work, and having it as part of your identity. At the start of the series, Saitama was unemployed and looking for a job. After failing another interview, he wandered around the streets and encountered a crab monster. Saitama admitted he wasn't afraid because he had lost the will to live. According to One, the author of the series, I wanted to differentiate the character from pre-existing characters. Mind you, I do love traditional shonen manga and have read a lot of it. But I thought it might be interesting if the first chapter is like the final chapter, have the protagonist be extremely strong from the very start, be at the maximum power level which could only be attained in the final chapter of usual manga. Saitama has a very simple look. The secondary characters in One Punch Man have a much more striking appearance. In several anime, when the protagonist gets stronger, his hair grows. In One Punch Man, the opposite happened. Saitama started out with typical shonen spiky hair. After gaining strength, he had a shiny head. Symbolically, lack of hair is a sign of age. Saitama burned out his youth. As a result, he already reached his maximum power and has reached the end of his journey with nothing left but monotony. If training is an important point in the hero's journey, Saitama did very simple workout to get stronger. 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, and running 10 kilometers every day. A normal person can do this with some dedication. There was no evolution in this training over time. According to Dr. Genus, Saitama wasn't born special, he had an ordinary life and didn't have any extraordinary potential. He simply removed his limiter and gained power that cannot be matched. Saitama became infinitely powerful with just basic training, and there doesn't seem to be any secret behind his strength. Unlike other stories, in which origin is a central point in defining the protagonist, in One Punch Man it is an almost non-existent issue. Saitama's source of power doesn't matter. Countless villains in One Punch Man have an elaborate origin, and the Cape Baldy doesn't have the patience to hear these stories. In the end, what matters is what they are now, and they are hopeless against Saitama. When Superman diminishes himself, he is rewarded. He exists in an idealized world that rewards a hero's good behavior. But it seems that Saitama's humbleness prevents him from receiving any recognition. Saitama defeats his enemies in a practical way. He wastes no time with introductions, and simply eliminates his target in an instant. In the end, he simply leaves the place, most of the time without anyone knowing who saved the day. This also hurts Saitama's popularity, compared to heroes who use flashy moves or like to show off. In the case of the Cape Baldy, some even believe he is a fraud. The Hero Association is a much more cynical version of a superhero league. And also much more realistic. There's endless corruption in the association. But it's exactly the kind of thing that exists in real life. Most heroes don't know how to deal with this kind of bureaucratic problem. To make matters worse, many heroes, like Tatsumaki for example, display a behavior that would not be tolerated in a well-meaning organization. The devastation left by Saitama is another reason for his low popularity. The trail of damage caused by other members of the Hero Association is not something that goes unnoticed, but it is tolerated by public when very powerful heroes face high-level disasters. But in Saitama's case, it seems like he causes enormous damage for no reason. Defeating enemies as quickly as possible is an effective way to reduce collateral damage, but the audience never learns the real danger of the monsters he faces. As said by One, punching is oftentimes pretty useless against life's problems. But inside One Punch Man's universe, I made Saitama a sort of guy who was capable of adapting his life to the world that surrounded him, only armed with his immense power. The only obstacles he faces are mundane things, like running short of money. Saitama doesn't seem interested in meeting people. He barely has any friends, and the few ones close to him like Genos or King are also heroes. He doesn't show any interest in a romantic relationship either. Saitama's power caused him to become isolated. He doesn't have an equal. there is no one who shares his experience. He has become an alien being to others. Saitama appears emotionally disconnected from what happens around him. A hero who doesn't show emotions in adverse situations should make people feel safe. But for Saitama, his lack of reaction is unsettling. When it comes to isolation, there is a similar phenomenon with lottery winners. For most people, receiving a huge amount of money suddenly ends up causing a series of problems in their lives, which they were not prepared for. Their job now has a different meaning in their lives. Their relationships with family or friends also changes. Lottery winners may become desolated, have an identity crisis, or feel guilty. All of this has a much greater weight for the population in Japan. An increasing number of people live in reclusion at an early age. They don't study, they don't work, they don't have friends, and they spend most of the day confined inside the house. There are several theories for this behavior. In general, there is enormous pressure for young people to embark on adult life. However, issues specific to Japan, such as extremely competitive schools, low salaries, or the real estate market, end up preventing them from being able to live independently. They end up being crushed by the expectations of Japanese society. Saitama doesn't have a job, and doesn't do anything for a living besides being a hero as a hobby. He could easily become rich, or reach the status of #1 hero. But he doesn't seem interested in changing his situation. Maybe counting the pennies in his pocket is one of the few obstacles Saitama still has in his life, and he's sabotaging himself. But the author of One Punch Man remained anonymous for a long time. It's usual for manga artists to not reveal their real names. The authors of Death Note and Demon Slayer remain anonymous, despite some theories about their identities. The reasons vary. Sometimes they created questionable works. Some authors are afraid of what some fans may do. Maybe they realize the downsides of being famous. Either way, Saitama's lack of interest in becoming famous could be a projection by the author. Now I would like to hear your opinion. Thank you for watching and see you next time.